Growing up in South Africa, you said it was a violent place. What are some formative moments that you remember from that time?
South Africa was so I grew up in apartheid South Africa, but more specifically the fall of apartheid. So it was the 80s. I was a teenager in the 80s, and uh, our community would part of our social life, frankly, was the anti-apartheid protests and to go be with white people, black people, kind of mixing it all together. The most formative experiences, frankly, how much I appreciate a place like America where we have a value for human life. So that was a country where human life was not valued. It was it's a weird thing to come from that to here where we take it so seriously. If someone dies in a war or something like that, and we just didn't take it seriously in South Africa. People died, or people were killed. I saw someone killed in front of me. With I was getting off a train, and it's a very violent train, known for violence. We were stupid kids. We didn't really listen to our parents. We went on this train, and the doors opened, and I had people trying to get off the train. And in front of me, two black people, one black guy just stabbed this knife in the side of this other black guy's head. And you're like, what the fuck? And you just, I got to get off the train.
How old were you at this time?
Probably 16 or 17. And I got to get off the train, and everyone is trying to get me to get off because, they're all behind me. So I step off and I step into the pool of blood, 1 foot, and then I just walk for about 100 paces while the stickiness of the blood just kind of from my sneakers just on 1 foot just like leaves a footprint behind me. And you just walk on. You just walk on.
Did the others
go to the
walk
concert
on as well?
Everyone walked on.
That's an interesting point you make. Underlying the violence is a kind of philosophy that human life is disposable. The individual life is disposable. I mean, that underlies many ideologies. I grew up in the Soviet Union. The value of human life was lower there than in the United States. The value of the individual in the United States is really high.
Yeah.
There's probably an index you can put together, like
Yeah, right, exactly.
Per nation. That's a really interesting way to put it, because violence is much easier on a mass scale. Causing suffering on a mass scale is much easier when you don't value the human life.
I've heard this before, which I think I agree with, is when someone is killed, someone's taken from our lives, the vacuum that it creates, the social vacuum, is extraordinarily painful, and it truly is true. I mean, if someone in my community passes away, it's very, very sad for me. And when you go to a place where grow up in a place where that human life is not valued, there's something about there's a little bit less of the social vacuum created because everyone is kind of expecting everyone to potentially be taken out at any moment. But then there's also a beauty to it because there's a much more of a celebratory element. When my cousin Russ and I, we're stupid kids, we shouldn't be doing this, but we'd go into the townships where a lot of the violence would be happening, and we really didn't see most of the violence there. It was in these more protests and so forth. But there's a joy that also comes from lower value of human life. There's a real joy. Like everyone is like, well, I mean, it's beautiful. We have dinner with black friends, friends with their family, and we were still pretty young, and there was just a real joy to it.
When you accept mortality,
yeah,
you can really enjoy life.
You can really enjoy life. I mean, I think there's actually that's quite a nice insight. I've never really put it that way, but I think that's right. Actually, I think you just chill out a bit, take things a little less seriously,
because life does end for everybody.
It does, right?
And if you just head on accept that fact,
yeah,
you can just enjoy every single moment and let go of this attachment. And just enjoy the moment.
I do love that we all live longer and so forth, but we should live longer with the goal of joy and the goal of happiness and peace, not some form of misery that you choose to attach yourself to.
Maximize joy.
Maximize joy. That's right.